Welcome to the statements video. So today we're going to be talking about statements and what that means in math. But before we talk about statements, I want to talk about something called a truth value. So a truth value is the truthiness of something. A truth value would either be true or false. You could also represent truth values with 0 or 1, which is how computers do it. So 0 would be true and 1 is false. Truth values are important because in math, statements have truth values. If it doesn't have a truth value, then it's not a statement. So a statement can't be true and false at the same time, which means it's not subjective. Everybody has to hear the statement and agree that yes, this is true or yes, this is false. You don't necessarily have to know if it's true or false, like Bigfoot exists. We don't know if that's true or false, but it's still a statement because it is true or it is false. Either he exists or he doesn't exist. He can't do both at the same time. And we're not even going to get into Schrodinger's cat. So an example of something that's not a statement is something that could be true or false depending on who you ask. It's more of a subjective statement. For instance, Batman is a superhero. Some people say, yes, of course Batman is a superhero. Other people are like, what? No, Batman's not a superhero. All he has going for him is money. So it depends on who you ask as to whether that one is true or false. So in math, we like to represent things with letters, like you saw in Algebra 1. So statements get represented with letters that are towards the middle of the alphabet. Usually we use P, Q, R, S, or T. So an example would be like this. P, that's our statement, and then we have to say what our statement is. So P equals a triangle has 3 sides. Triangle has 3 sides, we know that that's true, but now instead of having to write a triangle has 3 sides, we can just write P, which is going to be really useful for the next thing we talk about, which is negation. So negation means we're taking the opposite of our statement. We're changing its truth value. We're changing the statement to say the opposite of what it is. So for instance, if we have not P, and our statement P is Bigfoot exists, now we're saying Bigfoot does not exist. That's not P. So if Bigfoot exists is true, Bigfoot does not exist is false, because it's the opposite of our original statement. It's the negation of that. But we don't know the truth value. So don't be thinking Bigfoot exists just because the video says it. We can also combine statements, and we can do that in a few different ways. We're going to talk about 2 ways in this video. The first way is a conjunction. We're looking to see where these 2 things intersect each other, where do they overlap. In other words, from a logic point of view, we want to see where are these both true. So for example, if we have 2 statements, P equals Bigfoot exists, Q is the Loch Ness Monster exists. P and Q is only true if Bigfoot exists and the Loch Ness Monster exists. If one of them doesn't, then it's not true. If they're both wrong, so Bigfoot doesn't exist and the Loch Ness Monster doesn't exist, then the whole thing is false. We'll see a lot more examples of this when we talk about truth tables in our next video. Another way that you can combine statements is with a disjunction. For a disjunction, we only need one of the 2 statements to be true for the whole thing to be true. So in this case, P is Bigfoot exists, Q is the Loch Ness Monster exists. For P or Q to be true, that just means that P has to be true or Q has to be true. So Bigfoot has to exist or the Loch Ness Monster has to exist. So it's like if you're talking to your friend and you said, I cleaned my room or I cleaned my car. It could be that you cleaned both of those. Most likely you've only cleaned one of them though, and we have to figure out which one you have cleaned. Whereas with a conjunction, if you said, well, I cleaned my room and my car, then you clean both of them, and we expect both of those places to be clean. And that would be it for this video.
He's okay. My finger's okay too.